and welcome back to round two of the MTG Paper Legacy Discord's Tuesday night Legacy Fight Night fight. I am McDiff, joined by Prez BOTW. If you were not with us for the first round, we had a very thrilling game of Reanimator versus Ninjas, and now we have Elves and a basically mono black prison deck. What do you think about these lists, Prez?
I think that this is potentially going to be an interesting matchup unless Trouble manages to get a 3-ball down very early, in which case then it's potentially just lights out very quickly. Turnisphere is one of the biggest cards in this matchup for sure.
Well, the thing that's going to make this very difficult for Zeus, 2 main deck Plague Engineers, main deck Toxic Deluge. You have so many ways of getting out all of your 3-mana spells on turn 1 with all of the dark rituals and Chrome Mox, and there are a lot of ways that this gets rough quickly.
Yeah.
Elves is one of the decks too that you can't hide what you're playing, because turn 1 Quirion Ranger can only be Elves, right? Turn 1 Nettle Sentinel, unless you're playing like Boggles.
Yeah.
There are a lot of cards in Charbel's deck that make this a potentially very rough matchup for Zeus. That being said, it is a little bit slower than Elves is.
Yeah.
So I think
also of note, Zeus does have the play, which is notable
and incredibly important.
Yes.
I think if Zeus can get out quick enough, and it looks like probably going to fetch and step for Dryad Arbor would be my assumption, which probably means Cradle in hand.
Yeah, I can see it. And also, for those who don't know, McDiff is an Elves specialist and has been playing Elves for a very long time.
And I also...
Dark Ritual. And Mirage Dark Ritual, too.
Mono Black Prison. Lily Last Hope is...
very good.
Very strong. And it is going to make fetching for Triad Arbor a much more difficult decision. This is personally my favorite Liliana. I
think she's so good.
It's incredibly difficult to not want to play this Liliana. That emblem is one of the most one of the funnest things you can do.
Yeah. Anyone who can beat like this particular Liliana the Last Hope, anyone who can win a game when your opponent has this emblem out, mad props to you. Unless you like win the turn after it comes down. But if it's been active for like 3+ turns and you can still win a game, mad respect.
I agree, Kaiser. I personally, so I play 2 different mono black prison control style decks, and one of them recently I cut the 4th Liliana of the Veil for a 2nd Liliana the Last Hope.
I think that's fine. I still think in the control style shell, or like in a Pox-ish style shell, I still think Liliana of the Veil is more in tune with what that particular type of deck wants. Especially because Liliana of the Veil plays very well with just playing multiple copies after one another. Because you can just, downtick to kill your Lily and then play a second one and an uptick, or uptick a Lily to get a card out of your hand and then just downtick, play another one downtick. Like, she plays very well in multiples because you don't care what her loyalty is.
I do think Liliana of the Veil is a better Planeswalker than Liliana of the Last Hope. Purely because of the fact that you can play a Liliana of the Veil every turn and get the value that you're looking to get out of it.
That's true. However, I also do agree with you, though, that in terms of just a straight-up power level perspective, this is disgusting. And just a straight-up power level perspective, I do agree Lily of the Last Hope has a much I think it's probably because Lily of the Last Hope actually can tick up to a game closer. This is so bad to sacrifice the Collector Oof and then discard the Allosaurus Shepherd. Gross.
That hurts.
Yeah, that's so bad. Plus, also with the uptake, as you said, if this was a Cradle Hand, you can't fetch for anything else. Okay, so we're trying to get some value here. So we're going for a Glimpse of Nature and just hoping that I guess there's no Plague Engineer or there's no Toxic Deluge. But again, Zeus probably doesn't know what's in Treble's deck list off the top of the head there. Oof. Cradle for 1. Into a second Nettle Sentinel. Drawing a card. This is probably just a value glimpse.
Isn't bad. And I'd rather put 2 Nettle Sentinels on the board to get value off a glimpse in the face of Liliana of the Last Hope.
I agree, 100%.
Anything else.
Yeah. I might not have complained if the second Nettle Sentinel was actually a Birch Lore Rangers into another one just to try and get the extra card. But it kind of depends, though, because if you don't have access to a Heritage Druid, then it's kind of rough. Because with that Liliana there, basically any X1 elf is only going to last a turn. We actually see Wasteland come down and not casting the, not hitting the Gaia's Cradle. And I see why now with the Plague Engineer coming down.
That is going to clean up one of the Nettle Sentinels.
Yeah.
This is why I was saying right at the beginning that this is going to be a tough matchup for Elves. I think that the number of tools that come associated with Mono Black are specifically tuned to deal with this type of combo deck.
Yeah.
Or that like specific mid-range deck as well.
Yeah. Can I also just mention how that was Charbel's turn 3 on the draw, and his Lily of the Last Hope is already at 6.
Oh
goodness! Oh goodness! So this is basically going to be game over now.
With no main deck way of dealing with the Trinisphere.
Yeah. Kurat's MTG, thank you very much for the follow. And yeah, we're just on the slow beat to death trade plan now. So we got a 3-ball, a Liliana at 7, and a Plague Engineer on 90% of your deck. So this is going to be real bad. Although in this case, I actually do like fetching for the Dryad Arbor here, even though it's going to be a slow, painful death. You potentially have at least the option to attack the Liliana down 1.
Yeah.
Although that being said, this is going to be very, very hard to come back from in any capacity, because if you're going to attack with the Dryad Arbor, you need to tap the Gaia's Cradle in order to cast anything, or play another land drop. So here we go. We get the Nettle Sentinel out now, paying the full 3 mana for it, which is bad. Not attacking. Interesting.
I just snap off the Liliana emblem right now.
Yeah.
End this game basically on the spot.
Yeah. I 100% agree. I would just do that before even playing anything else. Interesting. Uptick.
I do think making sure that there's no chance of a Crater Hoof next turn. But even then, I'm fine with a Crater Hoof.
Yeah. Huh. So interestingly enough, though, now even if the Nettle Sentinel attacks Liliana, with Nettle Sentinel being a 1/1, Lily can still ult next turn.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've actually seen a Lily of the Last Hope above 7 loyalty, because usually, I know in my case, as soon as I hit 7 loyalty, that's the first thing I do. As soon as I get priority during my main phase, snap that emblem off immediately.
I mean, I've definitely ticked it beyond 7 a few times. Going up to 8, embleming, getting an emblem, and then, being able to keep control of the board after that as well.
Yeah.
Make sure
that is a good point, Rax, about the the Progenitus punishing, but at the same time, Progenitus is in the sideboard.
Yeah, they're...
Yeah, so we're going to make the emblem now. Yeah. Which actually, I really like this because with the Eliminate there, you're able to make the emblem and still keep your Lily around to help clean up any remaining elves, and then just use the zombies to clean up the game. But if I was in Zeus's position, like, I don't know, maybe I'd try and get a little bit more information, but that's the problem is now with this Lily emblem, Charbel literally has to do absolutely nothing in order for this game to end very fast.
So Champagne, yes and no about there not being any rush. You still have to win 2 games on a prison deck, which in a mono black or nearly mono black shell, that can be a long, arduous process, and there is a time limit still. So I see both wanting to kind of get that win in as quickly as possible. But
yeah. And Kuro as well, to answer your question about Cephalid combo deck, I'm assuming you mean Cephalid Breakfast. It actually won our weekly tournament 6-0 last weekend, just a couple days ago. So if you join up with the Discord there, you can get some pictures of the deck list there in the Hall of Champions. And then, we have Tensai, who was playing it and won there last week, and very experienced pilot with the deck. It can do extremely well. So, but yeah, Champagne as well. Putting Lily off by 1 turn isn't going to do too much as well. And that's the thing as well, is that the Lily emblem snowballs like insane amounts. It's so bad.
Yeah, I agree. I've just gone to time too many times on prison decks.
Yeah. So it looks like he's actually just casting the Quarian Ranger into the Trinosphere, having it die to the Plague Engineer, and then immediately conceding afterwards. So, yeah, the writing was on the wall there, and this is a real rough matchup for Elves for sure, because that, like, the combination of the main deck Plague Engineers, literally the Last Hope coming down on turn 1, and the Trinosphere, which Trinosphere is just lights out at the best of times anyway. Like, it's really rough for sure. In the Elves sideboard, we have 1 copy of Reclamation Sage. I guarantee you that's coming in.
Yeah. 4
copies of Leyline of the Void, 3 copies of Abrupt Decay, 1 Bajuka Bog, 1 Progenitus, 1 Caracas, and 4 copies of Thoughtseize.
Rec Sage comes in, Progenitus comes in, and potentially the Abrupt Decays.
I don't mind the Abrupt Decays here, actually, because they answer 3-ball, they answer any of the Lilianas, they also answer Plague Engineer.
Right. Yeah, no, so I think all 3 Abrupt Decays, the Rec Sage, and the Progenitus are the easy ins.
Yeah.
Taking out the Scavenging Ooze, the Collector Oof, probably multiple of the Allosaurus Shepherds.
Yeah, I can see the Shepherds coming out for sure.
And then for Lakeside Prison, we do have the Karn the Great Creator package going on, so probably won't see too much in the way of swapping in and out. But we have a Leshrac Sigil, a Liquid Metal Coating, a Ratchet Bomb, a Sorcerer's Spyglass, an Ashiok Dream Render, a Crucible of Worlds, a Desolation, an Ensnaring Bridge, a Helm of Obedience, 3 Leyline of the Void, a Mindbreak Trap, and a Mycosynth.
I really like Leshrac Sigil here.
Yeah.
Largely because it's tailor-made for green decks, and it basically being a repeatable Thoughtseize is really, really good.
I also like Ashiok Dream Render.
Yeah.
Just shutting off Green Suns and Natural Order is...
On top of fetch lands as well.
Yeah.
Very good. And it's also... actually, let me just check here. I think because it looks like it's not quite a delayed trigger, but because it happens afterwards, I'm pretty sure you actually can't hit Progenitus on Ashiok, because I believe Progenitus says shuffle it into its owner's library instead of putting it into its graveyard.
Yeah,
And so
it's an if trigger.
Because Ashiok is not, you know, exile the top four, then exile the graveyard. It just says put them into the graveyard, then exile it. I'm pretty sure the Progenitus wouldn't get exiled off the Ashiok,
No,
but
it
that
doesn't.
is so good though because you're not casting it without the natural order, which Ashiok still stops. Or if you're having a really mana hungry or mana heavy hand, you could cast it off of Green Zenith as well.
I wouldn't even tick down Ashiok
Yeah,
against Zeus with there only being one. I just put it in play and let it sit on its static ability.
yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Because it's not like Zeus's graveyard's going to matter to him at all. So
Yeah,
exiling it isn't a big deal.
yeah.
I also don't even really mind the mind break trap.
Yeah, that actually seems not bad either.
What are you taking? What are you taking out of your Charble?
If I was Charble, what I would probably be taking out. Hmm.
I mean,
There's
I
so
cut at
much good
least one
stuff in
Lily
this
of the
list.
Veil.
Yeah, yeah. Lily of the Veil, I think is safe to cut out. I'm almost wondering, you just cut the Karn package here?
Cutting the Karn package, I don't know, because Karn also gets you Ratchet Bomb, which is Ratchet Bomb is insane in this matchup.
Yeah,
It gets you I guess I mean it's not like it's going to be that difficult for Charble to empty his hand, so if he needs to sit back and lean on an ensnaring bridge,
I could actually see. Well, I don't know. The Wishclaw Talisman actually seems really good because especially if you have the Ashiok down, you can just give it to your opponent and then they can't do anything with it.
um
I'm almost wondering, do you just get rid of the Gurmag Anglers and just hope to make it so that way they can't play the game?
yeah.
Yeah, potentially, Cathar, I could see cutting the chalices. It does get a lot worse with Allosaurus Shepherd, but at the same time,
Make him have it.
yeah. Oh, we're crop rotating immediately. Interesting.
What are you getting here?
Oh, Bayou. I sense the thought
Bayou.
I sense the Thoughtseize here. Or he's prepping for Abrupt Decay. Oh, we're getting the Thoughtseize. Okay.
I don't hate hand attack here, especially because we see really the Last Hope and a Plague Engineer.
Yeah, I'm if I'm Zeus, I'm really glad I did this. But at the same time, there's a Dark Ritual in hand as well. So one of these is coming down on turn one. Mills Wilson, thank you very much for the follow. Or Miles Wilson, sorry.
Which one do you want to deal with?
I'd rather deal with the Liliana the Last Hope because you're only losing one creature a turn that way, whereas Plague Engineer turns basically your deck off.
I agree.
Or, that is a good point as well, do you take the Dark Rit?
I guess it
I think I'd be less inclined with the Ancient Tomb there, because if I don't have a second answer for Plague Engineer right away, I'd rather get rid of it now.
I guess it also depends on what you have in your hand. If you've got like a couple of Nettle Sentinels and then the rest of your hand is Wirewood Symbiotes, you might let the buy yourself a couple of turns by getting rid of the Last Hope.
Yeah. But yeah, I also totally see the logic in taking the Dark Rit there, for sure.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah, and Champagne, that is another thing too. This is another very good anti-Elves hand. So now that being said, right, and that says that there could be a bunch of Abrupt Decays in hand as well, right? And if it just comes down an Abrupt Decay, then I think we're golden. But it's going to be rough for sure. It's definitely not a good spot to be in right now. So we're going to see Nettle Sentinel here. I'm wondering, does Zeus not have another land drop? Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness.
I don't dislike that. I think keeping one lander in Elves is reasonable,
Yeah.
especially Quirion Ranger.
Oh, this is bad.
Mm.
See Zeus almost picking it up like, no, I needed you. Yeah, I could also see the crop rotation start making it seem really low on lands. And of note here as well, this Nettle Sentinel can't attack the Lily right now. Or can, but for no value. So we're just going to see draw pass. Man, this is brutal. There's been some blowout games today.
Yeah, this is one of my least favorite matchups. Is the sort of mono black shell prison style decks against Elves, just because of how many main deck alone answers they have to the deck.
Yeah. It's definitely a rough one for sure. So we're going to see a scrub land here.
We might.
I actually almost like casting Eliminate on the Nettle Sentinel here just to make Gaia's Cradle a dead draw.
Yeah.
Like, I totally understand not wanting to do it, but just turning Gaia's Cradle into a dead land, I think is more valuable here. So we're going to see a Wishclaw Talisman right now. Oh, there's a Dryad Arbor. Uh-oh. So this is interesting.
I guess I don't mind that, because now you're saying Lily has to hit this, which means I can keep Lily under control for an extra turn.
Yeah.
Nettle Sentinel. Well,
I do agree with that, but actually seeing the Eliminate, and that's the problem, because now you just down to kill the Dryad Arbor, and then you just eliminate the Nettle Sentinel for the flawless victory.
Yeah.
Oh god, is this Lily at 7 again? Oh my gosh, this is 2 turn 1 Lily the Last Hopes in a row.
Yep.
So we're making 2 floating mana with the Ancient Tomb. Black, and yeah, we're going to see the Eliminate right here to clean up the rest of the board. 1 colorless floating.
It is infinitely better to get this Lily out on turn 1 than the other Lily.
Yes, I 100% agree with that. And are we just casting a big fatty here? So the Gurmag stayed in. Interesting. So delving away the whole graveyard and then casting the Gurmag Angler.
I don't dislike it. You still got to win the game, right?
Oh, exactly, yeah. Well, I just mean I understand that, but at the same time, playing Engineer beats will definitely get you there.
Yeah.
So we're going to see another uptick on Lily to 8, which I actually really like here, just because that there's nothing Elves can do that can answer the Lily this turn, and keeping it around is way more valuable here. This is an absolutely brutal game, though. For keeping a lowlander and then having to crop rot away your wasteland-proof land for a wastelandable land, feels really rough. Although that Thoughtseize was very good, because the Plague Engineer would have been absolutely backbreaking to deal with here.
At this point, too, I don't actually...
Oh my god, is that a Leshrac Sigil too? Oh man.
Yeah, at this
So
at
as
this
of
point,
next turn, your hand's going to get shredded apart. And I have a feeling we are explaining Leshrac Sigil here.
Yeah, so it might be a minute, folks.
Yeah. And potentially an immediate concession afterwards as well.
And
okay, so we're going to get the Lily emblem here again.
Yeah, so now we're on a...
So of note as well, the Gurmag Angler is a zombie, so Trouble's actually going to get 3 tokens here from the Lily emblem.
Yeah. It's actually impossible for the Elves deck to win in 1 turn, and it's impossible to put enough power on board to block enough to survive. So I think at this point it is fairly safe to say, yeah,
Yeah,
we're gonna see speed.
especially at 8. And was that another eliminated hand? Goodness. And
And
Trouble showing off his box deck, it boggles my mind he can play like that. Like, power to him, but oh my gosh, that drives me nuts. Ooh,
so
showing off
we'll
those
be
next
back.
card ritual tokens too. Ooh.
We'll be back shortly with round 3. Don't go anywhere, folks, and we'll be back to bring you some more quality legacy content.
Yeah, see you in a bit, everyone.